Hi friends, Namaskar, good morning. Welcome to the next edition of Monday Mantra. Our ancestors and elders lived a very simple and meaningful life. They believed that a family's well being and happiness are linked to the propensity to save for the future. Continuing my previous videos on tips for savings, in this video I am going to give some mindful tips and techniques for savings from the wisdom of our elders. Yes, whatever they did had a social cause and a purpose, reflecting some fine human qualities and values. Have you observed your grandmother cooking rice? Counting the number of persons in the family, she will draw rice from the storage drum, as so many number of times the small measuring cup she used to have for this purpose, and put the rice into the cooking vessel. Then she will take a fistful of rice from the cooking vessel and put it back into the measuring cup to be kept into the main drum. This used to surprise me. When I asked the reason, she said, "We should not use anything for our own purpose completely, for our own benefit. A portion shall be saved for the future and for others. That fistful rice I kept in the drum back, that will remove the hunger of at least one more person who comes without food." Similarly, when you drink water from a jar, don't drink till you empty it. Leave some water in the jar so that it will quench the thirst of one more person who might be more thirstier. What a noble thinking engraved in their very lifestyle. Hats off to them. Remember, when we were young, our parents immediately on receiving the pay packet will put the money meant for must spend items like school fees, rent, milk, transport, newspaper, and so on in separate covers, of course, with substantial reserves and savings for the future. Hardly there used to be any overspending or shortages or unwanted splurging of money. They planned their expenses in a very systematic way. Once the must pay items are taken care, your mind becomes totally free. Let us also take a cue from the lifestyle of our ancient farmers. After the harvest, the farmers will not sell the entire produce, but will keep a portion as seeds for the next season or for future use. And the seeds they preserved would be of very high quality. Had they sold the entire produce, perhaps they might have made a lot of money, but that would leave them go without seeds for sowing in the next season. More so, that would also deprive them the happiness they derived by sharing the good seeds with other farmers, so that the community as a whole could prosper. In earlier days, the kings used to collect a share of the produce from the growers and preserve the grains in huge granaries for future use at times of distress. You might have observed big temples constructed by these kings having so many stories and levels, and also as many colosseums on top of the temples. In those colosseums made of 5 metals, they would preserve the seeds for a period of even up to 12 years. Whenever there were floods or drought, to manage the situation and save the citizens from hunger, they will redistribute the grains to the affected people. And due to floods, even if all the savings of the farmers are washed away, the seeds saved and stored up in the temple colosseums, that will help the farmers to restart the farming operations. What a high thinking and a pious way of life our ancestors had. Friends, spending money is akin to how we utilize our time. That's why they say, how we invest your time, how we invest your money, they decide your success. Most of us spend 2 to 3 hours mindlessly scrolling our mobile phone, wasting time in social media and TV, watching endless gossips, misinformation, and finally complain that we have no time for doing important jobs. Same way, We are habituated to spending our income, splurging money, mindlessly purchasing things we don't need, and finally not finding enough money for important things in life. We lose track of time, we lose our priorities in life, not knowing how to save and how to spend. So, why not we inculcate in ourselves the time tested savings habits followed by our elders? Yes, but how exactly we can achieve this? I will explain this through a technique called SAVE technique. Keep a box or a hundi at home. Whenever you go for purchases, roughly you know the anticipated value of the purchases, whatever be the amount. Even before going out, put 10% of this amount into the box or the hundi. Take only the balance amount for shopping so that you consciously restrict yourself from spending more. This is what is saving against the anticipated value of expenses. S.A.V.E. For example, let us say you go out to purchase vegetables and fruits. If your purchase will be for about 800 to 1000 rupees per week, even before going for shopping, take out 10% of the estimated amount of spending, that is 100 rupees, and keep it at home. And go with the balance amount only for purchases. Even if you had gone with 1000 rupees in your pocket, there is every possibility that you would have spent the whole money. But now, from out of the probable expenses, you have saved 100 rupees, and your savings this way will be rupees 5200 for the whole year, and this is just sufficient to meet the annual maintenance contract for your ACs. In this era of digital payments, where you are accustomed to using cards for purchase of even vegetables and ice creams, don't throw away the bills. Give it to your spouse or children so that they will verify the bills and insist that you transfer online 10% of the bill amount to your family's SAVE account. And you save a lot of money this way on every purchase you make during the month, whether it is groceries, medicines, durables, electronics or clothes. By implementing this idea of saving 10% of the anticipated value of expenses, which I call it as SAVE, you empower yourself financially. With the money so saved, you can meet any unforeseen medical expenses, repairs to vehicles, gadgets, or for meeting enhanced electricity bills. So make this as your family habit. Friends, spending is a mindset. You don't know the price of a commodity till you actually purchase it. So mentally you are prepared to pay any price to get that commodity. This SAVE method is only playing a trick on your own mind, persuading you to save 10% on the value of the purchases you are prepared to pay for, which you won't mind it anyway. And also, this 10% is not actually spent, but it is coming back into the family as savings. That is why the elders say, let your first spending start with your savings. How to implement this? Give that part to your home minister or the finance minister at home. I mean, your wife or your daughter. Give them the authority to ask questions as to how much was spent in shopping and how much money was saved under SAVE. This traditional savings habit only has made our Indian economy a saving economy. And when even bigger economies fell during the global economic meltdown in 2008, we came out of the crisis unscathed because of our strength in domestic savings. So friends, let us take a cue from the wisdom and lifestyle of our ancestors and elders and save for the future, adopting this SAVE technique to lead a stress-free, happy life. All the very best.